I'm doing well. Thanks for inviting me.
She got all quiet. We was over here talking and being loud and talking about the Beyonce album earlier. This is home, girl. You can chill.
Okay, this is an adjustment. I'm like, oh, I got to come in the studio.
Yes.
Okay.
So for people that aren't familiar, can you let people know, get more familiar with Queer the Land?
Yeah, so Queer the Land is a collective of queer and trans Black, Indigenous people of color working to own our own land and our own labor in the Seattle area and to make an impact on gentrification and housing in Seattle.
Okay, and that's amazing, and because one, it's important, and I think that when we talk about the diaspora Black, when we talk about property and ownership, right? I think those are conversations that a lot of queer people are left out of, right?
Yeah.
Maybe for the grant, right? But no,
Mhm.
how about the whole pie, right? So can you tell us some of the things that y'all have done over the years, accomplishments in those areas?
Yeah, so I would say one of our biggest accomplishments has been purchasing a home for our community in Beacon Hill. So we purchased a home in 2021 off of like the heels of Black Lives Matter movement and the pandemic and all the protests, civil rights protests that were happening in 2020. We were able to acquire land, and we've been able to utilize the space recently to harvest or to plant food and to harvest food during our community gardening days. So we've been providing a lot of food, also a lot of non-perishable items for folks. So we have a pantry and an apothecary, so for herbs and things like that, healing agents for the community that are all free.
Okay,
Yeah.
listen. So y'all are out there doing the work, and I was talking to you about that a lot. But I want to, can we step into you for a second? How did you get started in this work?
Yeah, I mean, I have a bachelor's of social work, so I've always been doing work in the community, work advocacy, pretty much in the health field, primarily reproductive justice. But this really has been an aligned kind of transition. It's all connected. We can't have good health in our community without having stable housing, community, and good nutritious food. So this has just been a natural transition for me. But my two of my best friends, Ime and Nisha, Togil
Shout
and
out, Anisha.
Kiza. Yeah. Shout out to them. They're one of the co-founders of Queer the Land. And they were here for 4 or 5 years. They had to move back to Atlanta because of the rising housing costs. But they were a part of starting this idea and this collective. And so they brought me into the fold and mentored me, and that's how I've been a part of Queer the Land.
Shout out to those best friends, right?
Yes.
That help you find your why, right?
Yes.
You were talking a little bit about reproductive justice. Why I know why, but why is that important for community members, especially Black and Brown, for not just for Black and Brown folks, but Black and Brown queer and women and those who identify as?
Yeah, reproductive justice is important because, well, if you know the history of reproductive health in this country, you know that it was created off of the backs, the labor, the suffering of Black femmes, Black women that we presume were identified as women. In this country in gynecology, and so enslaved women, and so it's really important for us because it's an opportunity to reclaim our bodies. For queer people, is an opportunity for us to define our bodies, define our identity, but also to have access to healthcare, access to resources to take care of our bodies, for them to look and function in the way that feels best for us, but also so then we have support for when we might want to birth a child or give the child away to community. We want to have an array of resources and opportunities and options and choices. And really, the civil rights movement is about access to resources and choices, right? And not having other people stunt that or trying to take that away from us.
And that's real. And I think that, and one of the things that I've noticed too is that it's not we're not really having that conversation. We're talking to like some of the politicians about it, and we are outreaching to our communities with it, right? But what about our youth? Do you guys have any youth programs?
We don't have any youth programs right now, but we hope to get more involved with the youth and bring them in and mentor. We definitely want to be able to, because QueerLand has also been about owning our labor, right? So like training one another, teaching one another as adults. And so that is a natural transition to move to working with kids and teens who are queer identified, who need a place to go and understand themselves, right? And see an older version of themselves, sees what might be possible for them.
Right, absolutely.
Mhm.
And let alone you guys are being on Beacon Hill, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I know that there was a lot of funding that came out
Mhm.
of the injustices that were happening throughout 2020, and just to know that y'all have that space there. What was that like through that groundbreaking ceremony and opening up that space?
You know, we have not had a groundbreaking ceremony yet. We're still looking for contractors who are like aligned with our values and will respect us as Black femmes. My colleague who does the day-to-day work, Ivana in Mbulele, who will respect two Black femmes, right, leading this work, and who will work with us and teach us things. So we're still looking for that good dynamic.
Is it hard to find that dynamic? And and this is
Yes.
a safe space, right? Because
Yes.
I think it's really important why people are here to know exactly what we need.
Mhm.
Sometimes people don't understand that, right? So
Yeah, it is a difficult dynamic. I think anyone who's worked with a contractor, any kind of renovation, knows that there's not necessarily a set standard for ethics like maybe there's for a lawyer or a doctor, and even in those fields, you can't ensure that. But it has been difficult. But I have faith that we'll be able to find someone who's really in alignment with our work, but who also wants to contribute to this community and wants to build a relationship, not just make money or do a project.
I know that's right. It's because it's important, especially while we're coming out of where we've been, right?
Mhm.
I don't know, but raise your hand if you're the same person after the pandemic. I am not.
No.
You know what I mean? We
No.
all go through those changes, and I think that safety is really important,
Yeah.
especially for our people with lived experience and our people that are out there doing the advocacy work, because we haven't had that time to feel safe, right?
Mhm.
It always just feels like we're on ice, but being protected, let alone someone who's helping build something
Yes.
that's going to be there for our community members is so important. So that
Yeah.
safety part is so important for y'all, for
Mhm.
us, sorry.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask you some more questions because I need to know what QueerLand, what events y'all got coming up, because I know y'all
Yeah.
got a whole bunch. So we're
We
going to
do.
ask LC some more about that when we come back. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Community, it's been 3 years since we've been able to celebrate in person at our annual Evening of Choice. And this year at Access in Pioneer Square on October 19th at 6 p.m., we will be back together again, celebrating our journey, healing towards justice. This past couple of years have been incredibly difficult for our young people and our community at large. And one thing that has become clear and absolutely true is there's one way forward that brings all of us together, and that's as we heal. And when our young people heal, they're truly able to become who it is they've been purposed to be. So on this evening, you'll hear stories of our young people, hear the evolution of our organization as we emphasize healing in our cause. And together we will celebrate another year of impact and growth as we journey towards justice together. Again, it's at Access in Pioneer Square, 6 p.m. on October 19th, and live streaming will be available through YouTube at I Choose 180.
And we're back with The Day with Trae. I'm here with my girl LC from QueerLand. Now, y'all have some events that are coming up.
Yeah.
So let us know how we can support.
Yeah, so we have a few things coming up. So we always have a gardening day. We've been doing gardening days since the spring. But the next one is actually this Saturday, the 8th. And it's usually 10 to 2 p.m. at the Queer the Land House. If you're interested in participating in any of these events, you can always email us at info@queertheland.org to get our address. We don't just publicize it, but um yeah, and so during gardening days, we do all the gardening things. We weed, we harvest. We have so much food. We have so much greens. We're also growing pumpkins and hope to do some kind of fall pumpkin harvest as well. So be on the lookout for that. But we always post on social media. The next event, can I just keep going with the events?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
We need them.
Another event that we're doing is Queer the Land house cleaning day.
Okay.
Because we are, although our house is not ready for folks to live in, we're still using some of the space for events. So we're just having, a good cleanup day to prepare for fall. For our fall programming, and that's going to be October 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then some of the more fun events, we're having a base training.
Okay.
And really, this is kind of an intro to base. It's our signature
What is
program.
base? Can
So,
you?
base is building autonomy and safety for everybody.
Okay.
And it was part of so QueerLand was created with two collectives, and one of the collectives is a Filipino advocacy collective, and they worked with some outside community members to create a program that's about self-defense. It's about community safety, community protection, and how can we create a community that is safe within and also protected from entities without, right? And how can we eliminate policing in our communities and really protect ourselves and protect one another. So it's usually a very long program, but this is kind of like a tester. For a long time, we've just done kind of like boxing conditioning, which is a part of it, but it's not all of it. There's a lot of curriculum and community building and strategizing. And so that's going to happen October 12th.
Okay.
October 29th, I'm trying
Yeah.
to think, and November 12th, I believe. But you can go on our Instagram at Queer the Land to see those dates. And so, yeah, and so this is a tester because we're trying to train more people in the community to also generate income for folks who might need some kind of floating income to be able to teach this class regularly
Yeah.
for our community members and also our allied community supporters as well. And then the last event that we're doing is a digital collage series. It's called Show Me Home, and we're collaborating with the Pride Foundation, and also a local queer Chamorro artist named Lourdes Velasco.
I love me some Lourdes.
Yeah,
Shout out to Lourdes. Lourdes was a first guest on We Live in Color.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Shout out to Lourdes.
Lourdes.
Lourdes. Maddie. Oh Lord, why the name's escaping me, but everybody from Taking Black Pride
Yes,
to walks in. Y'all my
Ivana,
fam.
yes,
So
all of them.
appreciate them.
And so yeah, they're going to be walking us through a 6-week collage series, a program about how to actually do like the technicals of creating digital and analog collages, but with the theme of defining home, remembering ancestors, which is really all about what Queer the Land stands for, right? Is reclaiming our stories and our narratives and our history. So that starts, the first one is October 27th, which is a Thursday. It's a sliding scale. It's open to queer and trans people of color, with an emphasis on trans women participating in that opportunity. And so, yeah, you can reach out to us to get registered, again, at info@queertheland.org, or you can DM us on Instagram at QueerTheLand.
Yes, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, okay, and I wanted to also ask, what was I going to say? What makes you so passionate about this work? What is your why?
Yeah, my why is always community. I'm not a Seattle native. I have only been here 6 or 7 years. And so Queer the Land was kind of like a central part of how I was able to establish myself and establish my community. And I've never gone without. Like, I live a very abundant life, and that is, in good part because of my community, and the ways that we show up for one another. And so that is my biggest why. Also, I feel like in nonprofit work or any kind of like social advocacy work, it becomes very serious. It becomes very like, we must reach these stats. We must, reach out to these communities because of some kind of alternative motive. But Queer the Land is really about building community. It's about the serious things, but it's also about having fun. It's about turning up. It's about like, crying with one another. It's about learning from one another. And so it's a really holistic space. And it really just keeps me engaged and keeps me motivated. And it's helped me in a multitude of ways.
Well, I thank you for helping us,
Yeah.
for continuing to advocate for our community members that are out there. Y'all have a plethora of events. I can't wait to share
Yeah.
them, and community members should as well. Can you please look into the camera and just give people the next event and how we can support?
Yeah, so the next event, the earliest one, is this Saturday. It's our gardening day. And yeah, you can just come on by. We really love volunteers, but we always have food. We have coffee, teas, and things like that. So just come out, build community, and learn about the other events that we're having. We're also going to be having some more collaborations with some Black-owned businesses later on in the winter time, hip hop and R&B karaoke. So if you're looking for something,
Oh my gosh.
if you're
Okay.
looking like for
That sound
something
like
like
me. That sound like me.
then yeah, just make sure you stay on our page. Everything will be posted on our Instagram page and also our Facebook page. Yeah, so volunteer, participate, donate. We also have a link to donate, right? We like to offer our programs for low price and sliding scale and free if possible for the most marginalized in our community. So donations help fill that gap, helps us be able to provide funds for our facilitators, for the folks who run the day-to-day with Queer the Land, and also to provide scholarships for people. So those are ways you can be engaged and help support.
Well, thank you so much,
Yay.
for coming in. I appreciate you, and anything that Black Media Matters can do to help uplift those voices, just let us know. We just love to have y'all here.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
y'all.
Thank you. This is fun.
Now, I know y'all probably